So this past Friday was Groundhog Day. Is everybody aware of that annual festivity? I'm sure you're all familiar with the tradition where a groundhog is supposed to accurately predict whether we have 6 more weeks of winter or an early spring. So for the record, if you didn't hear, on Friday morning, the groundhog did not see his shadow. Yay! So we've got an early spring coming. The sunshine coming back today gives me hope that this might actually be true, but I've learned not to hold my breath either. I love Groundhog Day, but I don't actually love the day. I love the movie. How many of you are familiar with the 1993? Oh my gosh, this is going to be easy. Okay, if you haven't ever seen it, don't worry. I will walk you through enough that you will get the message. You will receive the word today from me, even if you haven't seen the movie. And you need to go home and watch the movie after this. I've seen this movie easily several dozen times. It's one of the movies that I watch with my family that we have running jokes about. I'm sure you all have movies like that, maybe even this one. I think this one and Princess Bride are the two movies. Yeah, running jokes for decades in the Bruce family about these two movies. And that's one of the reasons I love the movie. I also just find it hysterical. I think Bill Murray is one of the funniest people alive. And the third reason, and the reason I'm actually preaching a sermon about a movie today, is this movie never fails to remind me the truth about struggle in ways that are very, very easy to forget. So, in Groundhog Day, a Pittsburgh weatherman named Phil, that's Bill Murray, he's very cynical, ego-driven, narcissistic kind of guy. He travels to Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania to report on their annual Groundhog Day festival. Punxsutawney is a real place, and the report I just gave you actually happened there. You can see the video online. Punxsutawney Phil is the groundhog. It's hilarious. So what happens to Phil in this movie is that he gets trapped in Punxsutawney. He gets trapped in Groundhog Day, and he ends up reliving the same day over and over and over again. Literally every morning the alarm goes off at 6 a.m., and it's Groundhog Day, again and again and again. Every time the alarm sounds, you hear Sonny and Cher singing "I've Got You, Babe," again and again and again. So each morning he gets up, he goes out into Punxsutawney, and he sees the same people in the same places having the same conversation, and he's trapped, and he can't figure out how to get out. And he tries a lot of ways, even through death a couple times. But he can't figure out what is holding him there. He can't figure out how to break the spell. So it's funny, of course, to watch this cycle happening over and over again. He sees the same guy who wishes him a happy spring, and he ends up punching him by day 4. But if you also pay attention to Phil's state of mind, you see him cycling through frustration and anger, and ultimately just this complete despair, unable to accept the fact that forces beyond his control are keeping him in this place, keeping him in this day, and there's no way he can escape. In a crucial scene, which is perhaps one of his lowest points, Phil is sitting at a local bar, drinking pretty heavily, and talking to a few locals. And he turns to one of them and he says, quote, "What would you do if you were stuck in one place and everything you did was the same and nothing mattered?" And the guy pauses and says, "That about sums it up for me." And that's where the movie really gets me, because who can say they haven't felt stuck in their life at some point, right? Where nothing you did actually seemed to affect any kind of change. Hopefully not as much as that guy at the bar, but we all feel it at some point. Haven't you felt that? I've definitely felt that. I definitely have felt that. Because human life, in some ways, is a life of repetition. We wake up, we need food, or in my case, coffee. We take a shower, we get dressed, we go about our routines. It can easily feel like a grind, if I'm not paying attention. And I can get really cynical about that grind. I often feel like I work for my calendar instead of my calendar working for me. Does anybody feel that way sometimes? Of course, there's more to it than just day-to-day life. There's a grind to so many of our struggles, too. Maybe it's a tense relationship with a friend or a family member that you just can't seem to make any better. Maybe it's a difficult boss or a coworker that makes your work life super stressful. Maybe it's an illness in someone you love that you can't fix, or an illness in yourself that you're trying to manage. So there's that. And then there's also, just being a sentient human on this planet today, right? There's so much going on in our world that we cannot fix right now. It feels overwhelming. This is where the nothing I do matters part can really hit me really hard, because I look out into the world, I see all the wars, I see all the destruction, I see all the suffering, and I can't do anything about it. I really, really can't, and that is so, so hard. So how many of you often feel like throwing your hands up and saying, does anything I do even matter? No one's raising their hands. Interesting. Oh, there we go. Okay. Honesty, I love it. Thank you. It's okay. You don't have to raise your hands. I know you feel like that at sometimes because you're human. You can't help it. So what do we do when we feel like nothing that we can do matters? When the world feels really big and really just too hard to manage? When we wake up day after day having to chip away at the same struggles that just don't seem to be getting any better? Because getting stuck in that place really hurts. It really hurts to feel like you're helpless, to feel like you can't affect change. That's where Phil is, and through Phil, we experience that pain, because we've all know what it feels like. We've felt stuck in that place where we struggle and we fail to make the world more like the world we want to have, the world we want for our kids and our grandkids, the world we want for us and each other. So this movie is all about Phil getting stuck in that place. He can't believe that he can't fix it. He keeps trying, but he fails over and over again. Until one day, he stops. He stops struggling. He stops trying to break this magic that has a hold on him that he can't do anything about. And he lifts his head up from his own little narrow, self-centered place of dismal despair, and he starts to look around. He starts to notice there's actually other people in this town all around him. He starts paying attention to them, the ones that have been right next to him the whole time. And he starts engaging in their lives, helping them, learning from them. And he develops a whole new routine, and this I love, where he goes around every day helping the same people over and over and over again. He helps the same lady who gets a flat tire. He gives the Heimlich maneuver to the same guy who's choking on a piece of steak. He catches the same little boy that every day falls out of the same tree. Day after day, he maintains this new routine. And in the process, he learns a lot about the people around him. His sarcastic response to seemingly everything starts to crack and slip away. And he develops care and love for these people. He sees their humanity in a way he probably never saw anyone's humanity before, because he was buried in his own misery. He was buried in his own struggle. He was trying to escape the inescapable pain of living. And because this is a movie, he falls in love, of course. He falls in love with Rita, his TV producer, who's played by Andie MacDowell in the film. And my favorite scene takes place in the town diner. Phil is trying to explain to Rita what's been happening to him, all these days of reliving Groundhog Day. And as he's doing that, he tells her all the things that he's learned about her. In all the Groundhog Days he's lived through, he has learned about her family, he's learned about her dreams, her fears, and her longings. He has walked and talked with her for days, and he tells her all of these wonderful things he knows about her, and he ends with this line, quote, "And when you stand in the snow, you look like an angel." In his review of Groundhog Day, Roger Ebert, remember Siskel and Ebert? Yeah. Roger Ebert wrote in his review about this scene, quote, "The point is not that he has come to love Rita. The point is that he has learned to see the angel." And that is where this movie really just cracks me open. To take someone so cynical and mean like Phil and watch him evolve into a person who has learned to see the angel, that he has awoken to the beauty that is present in his life. He's recognizing the meaningfulness of connection. He's embracing the possibility of hope. That's what I need to be reminded of today and every day, and that's why I love this movie. The angel Phil learns to see doesn't necessarily mean a heavenly spirit with wings. I mean, if that imagery works for you, I say go right ahead. But to me, the angel represents connection. The angel represents the spark of divinity that is in every single person. The angel represents realizing that you're actually not alone, even though your struggle will repeatedly try to convince you that you are. The angel represents the interconnected web of existence that I often forget I'm a part of. The angel represents feeling like I belong and knowing the presence of mystery and wonder and grace. Because that's the thing about the struggle. It tells us, beats into our heads that we're alone and nobody can help us, that we're trapped in this cycle that will never end, that nothing we can do will ever matter, and that's our burden to bear alone. That's how Phil felt, alone. And I imagine that's often how some of you feel, alone. So when you're in the struggle, when you're chipping away at that day-to-day, at that intractable problem or world event that just you can't seem to make heads or tail of, I invite you to learn from Phil. Pick your head up and look around it. Look at who's around you. Look at your family, look at your community, look at your friends, look at whose company you keep, and see the struggles that they're chipping away at too. Because we're not alone, we're all struggling in our own ways. But you have to believe in the angel to see the angel. You have to, I lost my place, I'm sorry. I was getting all excited. You have to believe that in order to see the proof all around you. That's the point I was trying to make. You have to believe in the angel in order to see the angel all around you. So in those moments when you're like, nothing I do matters, the world is a terrible place, I need you to remember the angel. I want you to think about that. I need you to remember that you are part of an interconnected web of existence, that your life and your meaning are bigger. They are so much bigger than the struggles you're facing, so much bigger. That who you are matters to a whole lot of people, that who you are matters, period, and that you are loved beyond measure. So when I am in the struggle, and this is true, when I'm feeling deeply alone in my struggles, I think about all of you. You guys are my angel. Did you know that? You're my angel. You remind me that the world is bigger than whatever is occupying my brain at the moment, that we are stronger together than we are apart. You remind me that alongside that struggle is always the opportunity to recognize our belonging, to embrace and be embraced by our community, to be loved. It's always an opportunity for that. The essence of what I'm trying to say is, I've got you, babe, and you've got me too. So may we remember that every day. May it be so. Amen. Please rise in body or in spirit for our closing hymn, number 346, Come Sing a Song with Me.